ACC tournament. Welcome to Champ Week.
Welcome back to Champ Week, presented by Principal. It's the New York Life ACC tournament from the Greensboro Coliseum in Greensboro, North Carolina. A lot of Carolina blue in the house tonight. As the number 14 seed, that still doesn't sound right. The North Carolina Tar Heels will take on the 6th seed, the Syracuse Orange, in the final game of day 2 at the ACC tournament. The first game of the night session, Notre Dame never trailed 5 players in double figures, and they dispatched Boston College 80-58. Jawan Durham, outstanding, coming off the bench for the first time this season for Mike Brey. So one more game tonight. Notre Dame with a victory will play Virginia in tomorrow's first night game. The top 4 seeds all got double byes to the quarterfinal round tomorrow. Florida State, the regular season champion. And welcome back, Sean McDonough and Dan Dockett. Delighted to have you with us. Dan, North Carolina suffering through one of the worst seasons in program history since they came into the ACC in the mid-50s. And yet right now, a lot of people think they have a chance to win this tournament. They're playing, they've won 4 of their last 5, and they're getting healthy. Yeah, they're getting healthy. They're never going to be healthy this year, but they have what you need. Garrison Brooks in the middle has been a 20-point machine. Cole Anthony, some say, is in the top 10 in the draft. Look, this is the best 14 seed in the history of conference tournaments. Just for an example, Nebraska in the Big Ten is a 14 seed. They got 2 players suspended, haven't won since December. Yeah. This is an unbelievable 14 seed. Syracuse, though, Syracuse will play with them, the zone. They've got to shoot the basketball, and they've got to make sure they get something inside. Syracuse does. Syracuse led by Elijah Hughes, the conference's leading scorer in the regular season. With more on him, here's Katie.
Well, Hughes is coming into this tournament with a big chip on his shoulder. After leading the ACC in scoring, he told me he deserved to win ACC Player of the Year. He felt like he was the most consistent player through the entirety of the regular season, but he did mention Syracuse's lack of wins could affect his winning it. He said he did not expect, though, to only receive 7 votes in total. He felt slighted. Jim Boeheim agrees, so expect for him to send a message tonight, guys. Is any award allowed to go to any ACC team other than Duke?
It was Trey Jones who won it. Jim Boeheim agreed with Elijah. He said Elijah didn't have a bad game all year. Only 2 games in which he didn't get to double figures, and he played less than a half in each of those due to injuries. They lost both of those games to NC State and Miami. Jim Boeheim said, you know, had we won those, had he been healthy, he thinks they would have won those and they'd be in the NCAA tournament picture. But realistically, wouldn't you think, Dan, if these 2 teams are going to get the NCAA, they're going to have to win this tournament? Right off the tip, Marek Dolezaj out of Slovakia goes to the bucket.
All right, something to watch right here, 15. Watch him in the middle of this zone. He carved it up from the middle last time they played, which was a North Carolina big win.
Cole Anthony a miss. They played February 29th in the Carrier Dome, 92-79. A Carolina win, one of their best shooting nights of the season. Elijah Hughes trying to prove the point, and off to a great start in doing that. A deep 3. And a 5-0 start for the Orange, who have lost 9 in a row to North Carolina, including that loss in Syracuse on the last day of February. North Carolina is the only program that has ever won 9 straight games against Syracuse. Nobody else has done that. Offensive foul on Leaky Black as Hughes played the defensive end very well. Ted Valentine the call.
Boy,
Bill Covington, A.J. Desai are the other officials. The big problem for Syracuse against Carolina is on the glass. North Carolina, year in and year out, one of the best in the country, and they've dominated Syracuse on the boards, plus 9.5 per game in those last 10 meetings. Dolezaj, he has 4 and a great start for the Orange.
Well, you can see Syracuse is just crisp. Every movement they make is quick, including that one by Hughes going in and double down.
Jim Boeheim in his 44th season as head coach at his alma mater. Only Coach K's won more than his 963 wins, and of course they had 101 more wins vacated by the NCAA. He's second all time, and his good friend Roy Williams on the other bench is 4th all time in wins. With 885, Joe Girard, the freshman point guard, the miss. Barama Sidibe tracked it down. Buddy Boeheim fouled while shooting a three. There's Roy Williams on the Carolina bench. 885 wins. It's Coach K, Boeheim, your old coach Bob Knight, and then Roy Williams. Both of these head coaches in the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in Springfield, Mass. already. Deservedly so. You know, in my time as a coach, about 25 years, that's the best coach I ever coached against, Roy Williams. And I was an assistant at Indiana. He was at Kansas, and he was the best coach. We've coached against a lot of good coaches, obviously, Hall of Famers, Dean Smith, Jim Boeheim. That's the best. Wow. That's saying a lot. Buddy Boeheim missed all three free throws. 75% from the line for Boeheim. He doesn't get there a lot. It shot only 44 all year. Entering tonight, he tends to linger on the perimeter. He was the leading three-point maker by far in the ACC in the regular season. Leaky Black, no, but there's Brooks on the offensive glass for the first bucket of the game. That's exactly what you said, Sean. Look, Sidibe had a great game against North Carolina, but you're going to have to duplicate it. You're going to have to get Brooks off the glass. You don't have to get the rebound. You just got to make sure Brooks doesn't get it. Ooh, they foul another three-point shooter. This time Hughes hit by Leaky Black, and that's two quick fouls on Leaky Black, the sophomore from Concord, North Carolina. Yeah, he hit him right on the elbow. A little head bob there, but you're going to see right on the right elbow right there. You wonder, with early momentum, if Boeheim's three misses might be a momentum stopper, but this is a chance to keep the good start going. The redshirt junior from Beacon, New York, who played 1 year at East Carolina and then transferred to the Cuse. And he's a very good free throw shooter. Really a terrific all-around player. Almost 81% from the line. Made 74 threes to Elijah Hughes. They take Black out with the fouls. Well, they brought in Keeling, who is really important. Actually, Syracuse is playing off Black, daring him to shoot. You can't do that with Keeling, number 55. Who was a question mark before the game. We visited with Roy Williams about 20 minutes ago. Keeling suffered a leg injury in their win against Virginia Tech last night. But after the warm-ups, he's been deemed ready to go. Armando Bacot fed Brandon Robinson, and he makes it. He had a big night last night. He made 5 threes in 6 tries in their win over the Hokies to advance to day 2. They had to play yesterday, did the Tar Heels, as one of the bottom 4 seeds. Syracuse had yesterday off. Hughes. So Barama Sidibe was on the offensive glass. He got a hand on it but couldn't get it. Robinson's pass anticipated by Hughes, who charges at the bucket, and it's a goaltending against Cole Anthony. Oh, that's just a bad play by Anthony. That ball wasn't going to get over the rim. He just went up and did that. Goaltending gave a free 2. This was not over the front of the rim. Didn't need to do that. That would have rolled off. Tell you what, you got to like everything about Syracuse right now. Everything is quick. You saw Hughes come out of nowhere to get the steal. If you are Carolina, you got to get the ball in the middle. Anthony at 25 in that win at the Carrier Dome. Brooks fouled by Barama Sidibe. And to say that he's foul prone would be a big understatement. He's fouled out of 10 games this year. You can already see that Brooks in the middle, which is what he did the last time they played, much more comfortable than anybody else in the middle. Bacot got in there, did okay, but that's going to be the comfort spot for Roy Williams and North Carolina. Brooks in the middle. Harrison's a junior from Lafayette, Alabama. Most improved player in the ACC is voted by the panel. 3 media members and every head coach. 3 media members from each school and the head coach comprising that panel. Buddy Boeheim himself much improved. He received votes for that award, and as Hughes had it taken away, Ted Valentine called Brandon Robinson for a reach-in foul. And that is his second. So 2 on Black and 2 on B-Rob already for the Heels.
I thought he got the ball. I thought he had it before there was any contact. Terrific play. Bad call.
And it's costly. He's by far their biggest three-point shooting threat we saw last night when he made 5 out of 6 against the Hokies, and now he's on the bench less than 4 minutes in. Hughes step back 3, might be trying a little too hard to prove that point.
Didn't need to do that. He had a good matchup. He could have gone to the rim and overpowered Playtech.
Partisan North Carolina crowd not thrilled with the officiating. Brooks might have gotten away with a walk. And it winds up in the hands of Hughes. A good crowd. It's not a capacity crowd, but given everything that's going on, certainly an excellent crowd here tonight. Gerard, freshman out of Glens Falls, New York, leading scorer in the history of New York State. Hughes, another 3.
Man, Playtech just left Hughes for a second ball side. That was a good shot for Hughes. The last one, the step back, isn't his thing.
Playtech's had a tough year shooting the 3, but he made a couple last night against Virginia Tech. Been one of the worst shooting teams in Carolina history, but they've started to find the range lately with Anthony and Brandon Robinson back and healthy. Media timeout. Hughes has 11 points, and Dolajai a great start. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball brought to you by New York Life and by Tostitos. Get to the good stuff.
I don't think this is slowing down anytime soon.
No,
You?
it certainly makes the decisions being made around the country to cancel events or play without crowds look like the prudent action. Anthony a miss, and you wonder, given this news, Dan, now if other leagues will say, okay, maybe we all need to take a timeout and let the health officials get this under control.
Yeah, I was curious. Talked to Jay Billis a little bit about it before the game. I was curious whether or not the NCAA will test before we have a tournament. We'll test for the coronavirus each player.
Marek Dolajai the bucket. He has 6. Hughes has the other 11 for Syracuse. A.J. Desai saying count the bucket, I believe. No, he's not. He's just pointing at the foul on the baseline on Buddy Boeheim, his first. Garrison Brooks, Syracuse fans wanted to travel. That shot way off by Justin Pierce, who's come off the bench. Grad transfer from William and Mary. Hughes guarded by Playtech. Hughes the fade away and the rebound by Cole Anthony. Anthony, freshman, son of Greg Anthony, who started UNLV. Had a long NBA career as well. Of course, he's done an outstanding job in commentary, basketball analysis on network TV. Brooks couldn't score in close. 17-6 Syracuse. They come in having lost 2 out of their last 3. Most recently an overtime loss at Miami against that undermanned Hurricane squad. They did play the entire second half without Hughes, who took a knee in the head in the first half. Pierce as they get it to that free throw line spot. Keeling, he's also a transfer from Charleston Southern. Pierce is all alone in the middle of that zone defense. And there's a reach-in foul. Both Hughes and Sidibe were there.
The only guy comfortable for North Carolina right now is Brooks. Brooks just made another nice pass. Anthony's taking a bad shot. Pierce took a very uncomfortable shot. They haven't been able to get Keeling anything. Brooks is the one guy. Baycott coming back in. You're going to play high-low now. I don't know how that's not shooting 2.
That's what Roy Williams is saying. It was given to Hughes, his first. Play tech. He's from the Albany, New York area. Brooks too strong. Tip back up and in. Both Baycott and Brooks were there. And count the bucket for Armando Baycott, the freshman from Richmond, Virginia. His first points of the ball game. Man. Gerard, a deep three, way off, and a run opportunity for Keeling.
You can just go right around Anthony anytime you want.
Play tag. Brooks all alone. Dolezaj went and contested the shot, and that gave Brooks the room. And here come the Heels back within 7. And the crowd coming to life. Many of the folks in Carolina blue coming to their feet. Dolezaj and Sidibe all alone. They doubled Dolezaj. Sidibe was all alone on the weak side. Keeling catch and shoot. Way off. Carolina fans thought Keeling was hit on the release. Hughes 1-on-1 on play tech. Goes by him, but Baycott came to help, and the floater was short. Keeling will try again from that corner. Baycott inside position. He's just grabbed by Dolezaj. Mentioned Sidibe's fouled out 10 times this year. Dolezaj right behind him with 9 DQs.
Well, North Carolina, this is their best offense. Just go get it. Very uncomfortable and can't make a shot. So when you can't make a shot, go rebound it. I think Syracuse looks really crisp, and we talked, or Katie talked earlier about the chip on the shoulder for Elijah Hughes, and you're seeing it. I mean, he is playing both ends, and right from the get-go, Dolezaj did that. He just went and got buckets, and he's been terrific as well. Everything about Syracuse to this point has been very, very crisp.
Playing with energy, Hughes and Dolezaj, 17 of their 19 points. Sidibe has the other bucket. Play tech with Anthony, Brooks, Baycott, and Keeling. They double teamed Baycott. Play tech tries a floater way short. He kept it alive though. Baycott, as the shot clock was expiring, didn't get it up.
Sean, you can see this zone is really packed in. I mean, they are daring somebody for North Carolina to jump up and make a shot. Now, Anthony made 7 of 11 from 3 the last time they played, but nobody looks comfortable.
Dolezaj lowered his shoulder in, then fired an air ball. Yeah, that's big without Robinson in the game. By far their best three-point shooter. Really the only other consistent threat from beyond the arc is Cole Anthony with the ball right now. Takes a long 2, air ball. Good quick outlet by Hughes to Joe Girard. And an offensive foul called. Quincy Guerrier, the freshman from Montreal, just off the bench, called for the charge.
Cole Anthony was running down the court complaining that he got hit on the arm. He was telling the officials, and oh, by the way, while he was doing it, he slid in front and took a charge. Cuse fans somewhat around me don't like it.
You must be talking to the broadcasters, Matt Park and Jim Sadler
right behind me.
us.
That's exactly who I was talking about.
First Syracuse turnover of the game. Another corner 3. They put Brandon Robinson back in with the 2 fouls.
Yeah, somebody got to make one. Jim Boeheim recognizes that. I mean, or excuse me, Roy Williams recognizes somebody going to have to make a shot because the middle is jammed up.
Wow. Sloppy turnover, 2 in a row for the Orange now. Dolezaj and Boeheim did not connect.
You know, one thing you got to do, you can't worry like, okay, Cole Anthony got hit, doesn't matter. You got to get in the middle of the zone at the top of the key and drill the next time you get it after the ball moves a little bit, or Robinson does, somebody. That was a tight shot.
By Leaky Black. Roy Williams has him back in with 2 fouls. And it winds up with Guerrier. He's had a nice freshman season. His senior year in high school last year shortened dramatically by injury, so he's kind of been working his way back. Girard off the mark again, and a Syracuse foul after the rebound was corralled by Black.
Sean, when you are 10 and 10 in the league and you've struggled to win games, you're up 9. That's 3 straight possessions Syracuse just gave away. The one out of bounds, that's 3 in a row. and you can't charge, throw it out of bounds, take a quick off-balance three, and you see Boeheim not happy with that. This is where you either let North Carolina back in or you take it out. It's not going to stay at 9. One of the two is going to happen. And they blew 3 possessions right there.
2 quick fouls on Guerrier just into the game. Baycott in the middle of that zone, tried to power in on Dolezaj. And a blocking foul called by Bill Covington on the baseline.
See, Bill Covington put his head down to give that
No
old
basket.
dramatic. Yeah, he didn't see it because he put his head down like he was giving a show instead of watching all the, it's a good call, but he didn't see it. He put his head down and went to that big, whatever it is. Big motion.
Syracuse over the limit. 2 fouls on Dolezaj. They don't have much depth inside. And as we said, this duo of Sidibe and Dolezaj, very foul prone. Dolezaj, a lot of it's just because of his energy. You know, he's constantly running after the ball and sometimes running over people.
It's the skinniest front line out of 2
really
guys
is.
you have.
And then you get knocked around. You try to reach back in to swipe the ball away. Here's Brooks. Free throw shooting not his forte, although much better lately, 80% over the last 10 games. So it's still 19-10. We've been stuck here for a while. Howard Washington is in the game, junior guard. Honored before the game with the Bob Bradley Award for courage. Anthony stripped Hughes, then Hughes dove on the floor, but he was out of bounds before he could pass it off to Guerrier.
Cole Anthony did a nice job there because Hughes was trying to draw the NBA 3, meaning draw the ball up to an extended hand. You can see right here, he's trying to draw it up, and Anthony just stood his ground and got a turnover. That's another wasted possession.
Brooks, nice bounce to the baseline to Baycott, who has the bucket. Armando Baycott had a double-double last night against the Hokies. 12 and 11, his 11th double-double of his freshman season. Only Antoine Jamison had more double-doubles as a freshman with 13 back in 95-96. The shot wouldn't fall from Bryson Goodine, who's in the game. He's another freshman out of New Bedford, Massachusetts. Where's number 0? And he just stole the pass from Brandon Robinson. Goodine and a goaltend.
Same thing. No reason. The ball was not going in, and Leaky Black went up and for whatever reason decided to give Syracuse 2. That wasn't coming close.
So first bucket for Goodine. That's his average, 1.9 points per game. Brooks underneath the Baycott again. They continue to assert their authority inside. And that's the biggest concern for Jim Boeheim and the Orange, dealing with the size and talent of that North Carolina front line. And now Sidibe has 2.
You said it right from the get-go. You said it. The biggest thing Syracuse has to do is get on the glass. And I promise you, it seems at least anyway, that North Carolina is literally throwing it up there, thinking they're going to chase it down. And now they've got Jeremiah Francis coming in the game. Somebody on the perimeter has to get something done.
Those are the numbers we mentioned for Baycott. Only Antoine Jamison more double-doubles as a freshman, and that's some pretty big names he's ahead of in Sam Perkins and J.R. Reed. Baycott, the bucket. Has any program had more great players than North Carolina?
No. No, you look up in those rafters.
It's endless.
Oh,
stream of banners. You say, wow. Foul called on Francis. He's been in and out of the lineup this year with a knee injury. They've lost more man games to injury this season than in any of Roy Williams' 17 seasons as head coach at his alma mater. Sterling Manley's missed the entire year. He would have been an important front court player. Anthony missed 11 games. They went 4-7 without him. In all now 102 missed games. But Anthony back, Robinson back, and they have enough to beat anybody. Hughes, a long 3 for Elijah Hughes.
And he just measured Robinson. and stepped back and knocked it in.
And another tight whistle. Goodine bumped into Robinson.
Coach, you can't do that. You're talking about a team struggling to score. Now, who's not struggling to score? This guy right here. Katie George was right. He's got 14 and a chip on his shoulder.
Be a crushing defeat for Stanford back inside the Greensboro Coliseum, as you can see. Big crowd here. This is a large venue, nearly 23,000 the capacity. There are empty seats in the upper deck, but I would say if it's 23,000 Dan capacity, we have 16, 17,000 in here. And this will be the last game of this ACC tournament with spectators. Conference announced earlier this evening. The rest of this tournament will be played without fans in the stands. Syracuse leading 24-15. The fourth and final game of this day. Brandon Robinson, a couple of free throws for North Carolina. And it's an 8-point margin for the Orange, under 8 minutes to go. Howard Washington honored with the Bob Bradley Award, named for the longtime sports information director at Clemson, battled cancer. It's for courage and perseverance. Washington has come back from a stroke a couple of seasons ago to play college basketball.
It's pretty amazing. You think about it. I mean, you know, you talk about kids coming back from adversity. You never hear a kid coming back from a stroke. You never hear a kid having a stroke, and thank goodness.
A little over a year ago.
Yeah.
He also had a knee injury prior to that. And he's a leader on this team. Coach Boeheim puts them in when they're trouble getting into their offense. He's had Joe Girard on the bench for a while now. Gave him a stern pep talk. Some people around the Syracuse team think maybe Girard, who comes back in now, hits kind of the freshman wall at the end of the year. I'm not sure Coach Boeheim believes that.
Coaches don't believe that, because what coaches do is they really shorten things up so they feel like they're protecting their players from that. I could see Girard. He looks pretty comfortable in this game. It's a good move by Boeheim, taking him out.
Cole Anthony, you know, he doesn't look 6'3". They list him at 6'3", but he is strong, and he's not afraid to go into the traffic, and he's a rebounder.
Yeah, no,
the guard spot.
He's as good a rebounder as there is in the country, and they've got him on Hughes.
Sidibe called for a travel.
Sidibe just needed to go to his left hand. He had left. This is pretty good here. He just takes on the entire Syracuse defense, keeps his chin on the rim, gets it over the front. It's a heck of a move, Coach. It's a heck of a move right there. They go do it again. I mean, look, keep it reversed. They're moving him on the baseline. They're trying to put him in different spots, Anthony, so he can get a little space.
Most people think Cole Anthony will be one and done in the lottery pick. Leaky Black. Foul called by Ted Valentine.
You know, Jeremiah Francis, number 13 kid out of Ohio. His dad, Jerry Francis, terrific player at Ohio State. He was a big time recruit. And then you mentioned it, he has knee problems over and over again, and hasn't been able to not only get through the knee, but you know, the rehab. He's gained a little weight, and it's good to see him out there, because this kid has overcome a ton of things.
Part of that long list of injuries for North Carolina this season. The foul, by the way, on Hughes, his second. So that's a concern for a Syracuse team that isn't very deep. They're already in the double bonus. Guerrier, Dolezaj, Hughes, and Sidibe all with 2 fouls. Largest lead was 11. North Carolina has not led. Girard possibly hasn't hit a wall, but the shooting numbers have definitely been off lately. And again tonight, 0 for 2. Buddy Boeheim's had a quiet start. Great rebound by Guerrier. He looks like what North Carolina typically does to Syracuse on the glass.
Man, he just went right over the top and kept it up to make it. Gotta go in the middle here.
They do to Black. Black with plenty of room. And Guerrier the rebound.
They're letting him shoot. I mean, there really isn't anybody out there other than Robinson that Syracuse is worried about on the perimeter.
Hughes and Anthony, 2 of the best in the conference. Cross-court pass found its way to Girard. He scored more than 4,700 points in high school. How about Guerrier turning momentum back to the orange side with 5.5 to go in the first half?
How good is that? You hustle like crazy, you get a bucket, and almost every time you get a bucket and you knock in a shot. That was a great pass by Francis. That was a great pass setting up Brooks.
And the finish by Brooks, who had a game-high 20 last night, his 7th straight game of 20-plus points. Longest such streak for North Carolina since Tyler Hansbrough had 9 straight 20-point games back in 08-09. Playing outstanding basketball, and they call Black for a foul. His third.
Well, look, when you hustle, and this is just hustle, determination, he goes up, he finishes into traffic. When you hustle, all of a sudden, you're just playing. You're not thinking, you're not wondering, is this a good shot, bad shot? You're just playing, and Guerrier right there just balling, knocks in another one.
He's really come on, as we said, as the season has progressed. Dolezaj staggered a bit. There's Guerrier on the offensive glass again, and he's fouled by Bacot. His first, and that puts Carolina over the limit.
Guerrier just went harder than Bacot. I mean, he just did. Bacot bigger. I don't know if he's more athletic, but he's certainly bigger and longer. And Guerrier just dominated him.
Guerrier has struggled from the line, 2 for his last 10, 61.4% for the year.
That stroke looks good.
Reverse announcer jinx.
Yeah, it was. That stroke looks too good to get those numbers. I mean, that stroke looks pure.
Talking to Matt Park, longtime radio announcer for Syracuse, right behind us. Talking about Guerrier, he said, you know, over the years, Syracuse has had the kind of team look good getting off the bus.
Yes.
He said, this year, really not so much. But Guerrier is one guy who you notice.
Yeah, and you noticed him out here on the court. He's going to get fouled. He's offensive rebounding. He's pretty aggressive in this zone.
Not a real muscular team outside of Guerrier. Keeling likes that left corner, but it hasn't been a good spot for him tonight. And an offensive foul. Dolezaj got tangled up in the lane with Robinson, and Dolezaj's called for his third, so he's going to have to come out of the game, and Sidibe will return. And we mentioned sometimes he just runs over people.
I don't know about that. Yeah. Honest to goodness, you guys are just playing.
I mean,
and Boeheim is just saying the same thing you just said. Why are you running over people?
I think that could have been a play on.
I always think it's a play on in those situations. Big guys, down low, going to hit each other. It's just going to happen.
Well, it's a big call because, as mentioned, they already struggle inside. And Dolezaj and Sidibe, key players inside. Hughes, air ball from beyond the arc. He's now 3 for 7 from three-point range and 4 out of 10 from the floor for the game.
See, I think on a shot like that, I know he's hit 3, as you said, but I think on a shot like that, he does North Carolina a favor. I think in transition, where he can get it, go, muscle his way past whomever's guarding him, I think he gives it up and allows North Carolina a break. Keeling's got to make a shot.
Keeling kick ball by Sidibe. That'll get us to the under 4 media timeout. Syracuse has not trailed. Largest lead was 11. The Orange by 7. ESPN's exclusive presentation of.
And you look at the NBA, as Woj announced earlier, they've suspended their season. What's the next step? What's coming around the corner?
Just the beginning. Sean, Dan, we'll have much more coming up on the Audi halftime report. Back to you in Greensboro.
I think the important word there with the NBA is suspended, not canceled. They're just going to step back for a moment and evaluate the situation. But the reports of Rudy Gobert has tested positive for the coronavirus. Sidibe took a hit in the head. And both teams are over the limit.
I'll tell you this, Cole Anthony best be careful. Well, he made a bad play, and then he reached in and he fouled, and he starts swearing at the referee. You got to be careful here.
Ooh.
Actually, he didn't swear at the referee. He was swearing at his teammate about the referee and kind of waved the referee off. You got to be careful.
Well, they're at the monitor to look at this. Foul is on Anthony. His first.
Yeah, it's just playing.
AJ Desai and Bill Covington went to the monitor. Now AJ over to say something to Ted Valentine. Looked like he wanted Ted to take a look. Ted didn't look like he was in any big hurry to do it.
This is like 1998 Big Ten tournament or whatever with Ted doing his thing.
Yeah. Well, now they're going to confer. What did you think as they patch up Sidibe?
I thought there's nothing. I thought that you go up for a jump shot, you hit a guy in the face with your elbow, and
but nothing flagrant there.
I didn't think so. Did you? Let's look. No. I mean, you're going up for a shot. You're in traffic.
He's turning to the basket, trying to raise the ball up.
I don't think there's anything there. But
well, now they're back to the table. Doesn't look like they're looking at the monitor. They're talking to Bert Smith, the alternate official. Roy Williams waiting, and here comes AJ Desai to tell Dan what has been the ruling. I think I heard him say a flagrant one.
Flagrant one on Cole Anthony. I kind of thought he was in a jam and went up to shoot, turning. I didn't think that was a flagrant one, but I'm not the ref.
So here is Sidibe, the free throw shooter. Flagrant one, excessive and or unnecessary, not a legitimate play on the ball. And the holder push from behind. Sidibe just 54% from the line, but that's a career best in his junior year. He's now made 10 of his last 11, so that percentage is coming up. He made 7 out of 8 from the line in the loss to Roy Williams and the Tar Heels in the Carrier Dome on February 29th. Tar Heels that night had their best shooting night of the year. The only game in the year they shot better than 50% from the floor, 40% plus from 3, and 80 from the line.
Yeah, they're ridiculous. Cole Anthony 7 for 11 on threes. Good action right there to get Boeheim off a little curl.
His first bucket on his third shot. 1 for 3 from the floor. Lead back to 11 for the Orange. Under 3.5 to go in this second round game at the ACC tournament. The winner will take on Louisville tomorrow. Shot clock under 5. Playtex had a rough year from 3, has to take it, and he just missed. And Guerrier another rebound, his 6th.
Boy, Boeheim wants to let one fly. Anthony did a good job.
Boeheim was 4th in the balloting for most improved player in the ACC this year. Raised his point production by about 10 a game. The one-handed floater wouldn't go for Guerrier. Ooh, wow. Anthony. That was from nearby Winston-Salem. Wide open. Guerrier long with a 3. Sidibe tracked it down.
Well, North Carolina just out hustling Syracuse. Or excuse me, Syracuse just out hustling North Carolina right now. 2 guys went and looked at the ball. Gary, you're playing harder than anybody.
Lob for Sidibe, caught it on the way down and was fouled. Meanwhile, Baycott in pain, hobbling and not putting his right foot on the floor. He got injured up high near the top of the key. Garrison Brooks called for his first foul.
Well, let's see here. Baycott's going to come out right there. You see on the left of the screen, his right ankle turns. Just a unfortunate deal. Sean, we're 18 minutes in this, and 0 for 6 on threes is North Carolina, and frankly, none of them have been inside the cup. I mean, they've missed badly and taken some bad ones. Somebody's going to have to step up here and knock in a shot.
Carolina went 11 for 26 from three-point range in that win against Syracuse. They scored 92 points in the Dome. They have 22 today. This is the largest lead for Syracuse, up 12 with 2 to go in the half.
You know, nobody's pass faking. Nobody's trying to get into gaps. Everybody's just kind of matched up on top, throwing it to each other. There's a little gap.
Anthony floating left, way short. Pierce kept it alive, threw it to Boeheim. Girard, lob for Guerrier, and he drops it in. Beautiful feed by one freshman to another. Girard to Guerrier.
Boy, Guerrier just flew down the court, and Girard had his head up, saw it the entire way, and dropped it in there perfectly.
What a first half for Quincy Guerrier off the bench. Wow. Anthony nowhere near Justin Pierce.
I mean, look, just running right past. Again, I said earlier, they're out hustling North Carolina. Well, right there is a perfect example. Guerrier beat everybody down the floor.
He averages just under 7 points per game. He has 7. He averages 5.2 rebounds per game, does Guerrier. He has 6 already tonight.
Well, there's that same curl action.
Buddy Boeheim, that's an improvement in his game, the ability to drive it, and it sets up a 3 for Joe Girard. His first basket. 11 unanswered points for Syracuse, up by 17 in front of a stunned and very quiet partisan Carolina crowd here in Greensboro.
This is a meltdown. This is a North Carolina meltdown here late in the half, started by Cole Anthony and his decision making.
Hughes went to work on play tech and went quickly enough. The old NBA style 2-for-1 here. Syracuse could get it back with a 5-second differential. Brooks. That one pops out. Hughes has it, and they can take the last shot of the half.
How about Guerrier just in there battling everybody? What a lift he has given. One for low, let it go.
Again, Hughes on play tech. The fadeaway in the final seconds. What a half for Elijah Hughes and the Syracuse Orange. A 15-0 run to end the half. Against a team that beat them in Syracuse February 29th by 13 points and scored 92 in the process. 18 for Hughes. 7 and 7 for Guerrier.
Man, is Hughes comfortable or what? Just goes to his spot. Lifts up over play tech. Katie said it from the get-go. He's got a chip on his shoulder, and his teammates are right there with him.
Thinks he should have been the player of the year in the conference. Here's John Brickley.
Sean, thank you.
Welcome back to Champ Week, presented by Principal. Day 2 of the New York Life ACC tournament from the Greensboro Coliseum. The Carolina fans stunned. Their team was rolling coming into tonight, but they never led in the first half. Syracuse started out 7-0 and ended the half on a 15-0 run. And Elijah Hughes, Dan Dockich, was magnificent.
Right from the get-go, Dolezaj started it out. Elijah Hughes added to it. He was good early. He was good middle. He was good late. Syracuse to this point has out-hustled North Carolina. Quite frankly, not even close. It's been that one-sided from an energy standpoint. North Carolina, first thing they got to do is pick up their hustle, pick up their juice. They have none in the first half.
Well, a moment ago, here's Katie George with Roy Williams.
Roy, what was your message at half?
I have no idea. It was just screaming and acting like an idiot. We didn't guard. We got those 2 early fouls on B-Rob, the 2 early fouls on Leaky, and then all of a sudden we just backed off. We didn't box out and keep them off the boards. We got 0 fast break points till they got 9 or 10. It was ugly out there. It's one of the worst coaching jobs I've ever done in my life. That's all I can say.
Thanks for the time.
See, that's all hustle, and that's what you do as a coach. What are you going to do, make an adjustment? No, you just yell and scream and hope something clicks.
Well, they go into the middle to Brooks. Jim Boeheim doesn't like the call on Sidibe. That's one thing that could certainly help the Tar Heels back into this game. Foul trouble, and that's 3 on Sidibe. Dolezaj has 3.
Well, I wouldn't hesitate to put Guerrier in the game. He was terrific in the first half. You got foul trouble, let Guerrier solve it for you.
Brooks gets the first one to roll in. Now 1 for 3 from the line for 9 points. And if you're a Tar Heel fan, hoping for the rally from the biggest halftime deficit they've faced this year, You'll remember in that game at the Carrier Dome on February 29th, North Carolina scored 52 points in the second half, shot 57% from the floor in the second half.
Yeah, they made a ton of threes.
Dolezaj, rebound by Brooks, and Boeheim thought Dolezaj got hit on the release. Can the Tar Heels get this partisan crowd back into the game? Brooks just back down Sidibe, who retreated to avoid the foul, and Brooks missed from in close. Elijah Hughes, the pull-up. Boy, is that impressive.
You know, Kobe Bryant's influence in basketball, you just saw it. Drive, get to your spot. We saw it at the end of the half. Get to your spot, mid-range. Kobe Bryant brought that in, and you just saw it with Hughes.
Leaky Black was left alone.
Well, they're leaving him alone. They've left him alone the entire game. He's going to have to make, and Anthony's going to have to make threes.
He was 0 for 4 prior to that from the floor. Black, who's 6'8", had to play point guard earlier this year due to injuries. They've had 4 different players start at point guard this season. Now they have Anthony back to cement that position. Dolezaj, I'm not sure Sidibe thought that was coming to him. Shot clock is at 3. Hughes, long, and Anthony the rebound.
Well, you would think a lot of pushing because of what Roy Williams said. He said no fast break points, so you would think everybody would be flying.
And that's what they need to continue to do. Brooks inside, pounded inside. You know, Sidibe and Dolezaj don't want to pick up another foul.
No, and that was nice by Baycott. He just dropped a nice bounce pass to Brooks.
12 for Brooks.
Unbelievable. I'm telling you, unbelievable. That was just a little rub, not even going hard. And Baycott and Brooks just stood there looking at each other and gave up a dunk.
8 for Dolezaj. Now a chance for a run out for Hughes. Gerard's wide open and calling for it. One-on-one with Leaky Black. Big size advantage there for Black. Buddy Boeheim is fouled.
And you got to see this. I mean, this is not even cutting hard. This is just a little rub. Look at everybody just standing there. Anthony lets him go by. Baycott. Somehow Brooks gets hooked into that. That's just a team that doesn't really want to be here. I mean, you hate to put it that hard, but if you're down in a stance and you're talking, you take that away. That's not even an attempt to get a bucket.
And the foul on Robinson, his third. He got 2 quick ones, came out quickly. Tough day from the line for Buddy Boeheim. Now 1 out of 5. He got fouled early in the game shooting at 3, missed all 3. 1 out of 2 on that trip. Let the Cuse by 20. Brooks just powers his way in. Again, Sidibe retreating. He actually wound up on the floor.
Yeah, I didn't think that was anything there. Sidibe was kind of going backwards and got out of the way, really. Scoring much easier right now for North Carolina. But you got to guard somebody.
Hughes fouled. Black and Anthony were there. They gave it to Cole Anthony, his second.
But you can't let him in the middle. He just whips Cole Anthony right to the middle and then grabs him on the arm, and there's your foul.
Think it was on the arm?
Right here, watch. You'll see it right there.
Yes, it was.
Anthony's sitting here complaining. What are you complaining about? You grab the guy on the arm. First you let him in the middle, which is bad business, and then you grabbed him on the arm. It ain't the ref's fault.
.21 now for Hughes. 22 now for Hughes. Earlier this season became the 63rd player to reach 1,000 career points at Syracuse. Brandon Robinson, short and left, and snatched by Dolezaj. Good contest there by Buddy Boeheim. They've had a hard time defending the 3. Sidibe fouled by Baycott. They've had a hard time this year, Dan, defending the 3, but not tonight, as North Carolina is 0 for 8.
Look at this. He runs right. Look at Sidibe. There's guys back. Brooks is looking at the ball. Anthony lets the guy go past him. and it's a foul. What you do, the first guy back puts his head under the rim. That would have been Anthony, and you guard the basket. But everybody else has to sprint, and nobody sprinted. Sidibe did.
6'10" junior from the African nation of Mali. Christian Keeling in. Brandon Robinson to the bench with 3 fouls. In the loss to the Tar Heels February 29th in Syracuse, Sidibe had 17 points, 15 rebounds. He also blocked a career-high 6 shots. So even though Brooks was the dominant force in that game, Sidibe was more than respectable himself.
He was terrific. He really was.
Long 2 for Leaky Black.
Well, they're playing off him, and he's going to have a shot every time down the court, and if he can start making that, it's going to spread the top for Cole Anthony to get a shot at the top of the key.
So 4 minutes into the half, and North Carolina's cut only 2 points off the 21-point deficit. Dolezaj got stuck at the side of the lane with Brooks defending. Now he is inside position and scores. No chance for Keeling to stop him from behind. Looked like Black might have walked on the catch. That time, Dolezaj said, "You're not going to jam it inside again" to Brooks. He runs and misses the dunk. Off the feed from Buddy Boeheim. Cole Anthony from way beyond the arc and marked that point in this game. That could have been a turning point. The missed dunk by Dolezaj, followed by the 3 by Anthony.
There is no doubt about it. And there was no doubt that whoever shot for North Carolina was going to make it. You've seen it a million times.
5 minutes gone by, second half. They come to trap Hughes. He got it out to Dolezaj. Shot clock is at 3. Gerard. No. Rebound Anthony.
Yeah, Gerard didn't need to do that. Gerard needed to go past Black and go just get a 2 and stop this run.
Keeling baseline drive. Looked like he got whacked by Sidibe. Carolina bench in an uproar. As are these fans. Out of bounds. Takes us to immediate timeout.
Right here, chance to really put it to Carolina. You don't, and Cole Anthony responds. He's going to have to hit a few more.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college. Okay, John, thank you. Boy, the news just continues to be jarring almost minute by minute.
Right.
From all over the world.
Doesn't seem like this is stopping anytime soon, does it, Sean?
Garrison Brooks traveled. He tried to power his way into the bucket.
That was a good play by Sidibe. Sidibe recognized Brooks was backing him in like that, and he just gave way. And it almost like pulling the chair out, people call it, and he traveled.
Gerard with Boeheim, Sidibe, Dolezaj, and Hughes for Syracuse. Keeling gets up on Boeheim with Robinson, Anthony, Brooks, and Baycott for North Carolina. Buddy Boeheim fouled for the 2nd time tonight while shooting at 3, but you wonder what his mindset is as he goes to the line. 1 for 5 from the stripe tonight.
You know, like about Buddy Boeheim, he always looks like he's smiling. You know, look at him. He always looks like he's pulling one over
Well, you know,
on you.
He gets that from his mother.
Yes, he doesn't get it from his dad.
Julie Boeheim here tonight.
She always looks like she's smiling. If I was married to Jim, I'd be smiling. You gonna let that go?
You gonna explain why?
I don't know.
Well, Julie and Jim Boeheim have 2 big reasons to be proud. That's the highest scoring brother combination in Division I this season. Jimmy had a terrific year for Cornell as their leading scorer and rebounder.
I thought one of the cool things a few years ago in the Dome, like first game of the year as a freshman, Jimmy Boeheim lifted up right in front of his dad's bench and drilled a 3.
He had 25 for Cornell against Syracuse at the beginning of the year. Anthony's 3 misses. Dolezaj, good rebound in traffic.
Oh, man. Sidibe beat everybody down.
Yeah,
Syracuse beat everybody down.
Hughes, not a bad option from the corner. Robinson, the rebound. Dolezaj has it back. North Carolina cannot gain ground, down 21 at the half after Syracuse ended the first half on a 15-0 run, and it's still 21 with 13.5 to go. The other thing I would say about the Boeheim kids, they're really nice people.
Awesome.
They're, Jim and Julie are terrific parents.
I had one of the best days I've ever had as a broadcaster. Jason Benetti and I went and did a Virginia Syracuse game, and Jim we literally sat at the scores table for an hour and 45 minutes talking about all the different players and his life in basketball, and it was the most fun hour 45 I've ever had in broadcasting, maybe ever. Well, professionally.
And the young lady on the right of that picture's Buddy and Jimmy's sister Jamie, who was a fine player herself at Jamesville DeWitt High School outside Syracuse, part of 3 straight state title teams. Dolajai the free throws. She played at last year at Division III Rochester, excellent academic school in upstate New York. This is the largest lead for Syracuse, and the crowd is completely out of the game right now. Black rattles home a 3. Tale of 2 halves for him in terms of shooting. Couldn't make anything in the first half.
Well, Jim Boeheim says he's most proud of Buddy for the way he's evolved his game. He was known as a catch-and-shoot guy, someone not capable of getting in the lane or creating for others. Well, over the summer, he and Jerry McNamara worked out every single day, building his strength and focusing on his ball handling skills. Buddy says it paid off. He now feels like one of his best shots is his 2-dribble pull-up, where he works it into the lane. It's been his go-to this season when teams are pressing him from behind the arc.
Well, that's exactly right. That's good by Katie, because I'll tell you what, when he gets into the lane, and he is long, he's 6'8", long arm.
Anthony tried to lob it up for Brooks, and I believe he's going to get called for the foul as he tried to rescue it, his second. The Boeheims have a pretty nice basketball court in their house, indoor court, which you need in Syracuse.
That's why I would be happy to be married to him.
Buddy's one of those kids who's down there constantly. But Jerry McNamara, you saw a brief shot of, one of the great 3-point shooters in Syracuse history, certainly one of the great shooters of his era.
I always thought McNamara was one of the great competitors too.
Yeah, he certainly is.
Just a crazy competitor.
Dolajai, Sidibe, are they going to wave that off? Yes. Jim Boeheim can't believe it. I think it was intended to be a pass. It looked like the pass might have gone in the bucket anyway. He clearly lobbed it up for Sidibe.
I think that's a good call. I think that's a good call. I think Sidibe got it inside the rim. I think it would have gone in, though.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to. Robinson anticipated by Hughes. And all the way to the bucket, it spins off Pierce, the rebound. They're starting to anticipate some of those passes being now forced into Brooks and picking them off. Lakey Black, the bucket. And he'll have a chance for a 3-point play. And it's 3 fouls on Elijah Hughes.
Oh, jeez.
Jim Boeheim.
Jim Boeheim has gotten better looking with age.
Buddy posed.
Buddy
just
good looking.
Pose. And he's wouldn't watch Trey Jones from Duke, the ACC Player of the Year, putting in a lead effort to win college basketball's highest individual honor, John R. Wooden Award. He not only was the Player of the Year in the ACC, but the Defensive Player of the Year. Garrison Brooks, most improved. Patrick Williams, the terrific freshman, the 6th man of the year at Florida State. And Leonard Hamilton leading Florida State to its first regular season ACC title, the Coach of the Year, deservedly so. Buddy Boeheim for 3, just when Carolina cut it to 16.
Well, that's what Carolina wanted. They wanted the ball down the floor, take a quick shot, speed this thing up, and he just drilled it.
Yeah, Carolina brought some pressure, trying to speed it up and get some turnovers. Lob nicely done for Justin Pierce. He snuck behind the defense. That bottom part of the defense concerned so much about Brooks. He went sight unseen to the edge of the rim.
He has played a really good game, Dolajai. Dolajai has been the outlet. He's played in the middle of the floor. He's rebounded. He started the game out going to the rim. He's been terrific.
You're surprised we haven't seen any of Guerrier here in the second half with as good as he was in the first. Sidibe rolls one in.
Get a lot of easy buckets. It's a pretty good pass by Gerard. That was not.
No. So more than 9 minutes played in the second half, and again, just 2 points off the deficit for Carolina. They were down 21 at the half. The winner of this one will play Louisville in the nightcap tomorrow night. Florida State and Clemson will get your day started from the New York Life ACC tournament, 12:30 Eastern Time. Hell ball, Syracuse ball. I think Florida State, people talk about the ACC's down this year. Duke, Florida State, Louisville could all win the national championship. And I asked Jim Boeheim, you think Virginia could too? He said, if they could win like 6 two-point games in a row, which they're capable of doing.
That's what they do, right?
Yeah, they just find a way to win.
I love the story of Virginia because I talked to Tony Bennett early when they were struggling. He just said, look, offensively, we're going to be what we are, but defensively, if we're elite, we'll win a lot of close games, and they have.
Gerard, wow, Brooks tipped it, and it wound up with Hughes, who lays it in.
That's just bad luck right there. 2 guys were around it, falls into Hughes' hands.
24 for Elijah Hughes.
But you know what, Sean? When you play really hard, you get those things. When you don't play hard, you don't get those things.
14th 20-point game of the year for Hughes. Black. Rebound in traffic by Sidibe. I think he and Dolezaj tonight came out with the attitude they're tired of hearing about how North Carolina dominates inside. They have held their own again, and now they're having fun. Gerard, another perfect lob, this time to Sidibe. And another double-double for Sidibe. He had one as well in the Carrier Dome against the Tar Heels on the final day of February. Buddy Boeheim called for his second foul.
A little give and go, right? Carolina once again not in help. Nobody hustling back in, and when you don't, you got Sidibe yelling on the rim.
He is really emerging here now late in his junior season as an offensive force. Just seems to be a more assertive presence than he's been on both ends of the floor. Robinson, Gerard there quickly enough. Brooks underneath the foul line. That spun off. Baycott got a finger on it. Sidibe is out of bounds. 9.5 to go, and some of the Carolina faithful are heading to the exits. Black, nicely done. Off the lob from out of bounds from Cole Anthony.
We've seen comebacks, and certainly 9.5 minutes, Carolina with the pedigree and all that kind of stuff could make a move, but it just doesn't feel like they have the energy to do it, and it really feels like the look at this.
Yeah, they're just having fun now.
Just total confidence by Syracuse.
Dolezaj up to 13 points. Timeout, North Carolina. One of the worst seasons in school history might be about to end for the Tar Heels. .903 to go. North Carolina down by 23. Number of streaks for Coach Roy Williams, one of the greats of all time in jeopardy. He's never had a season of 500 or below in his 31 years as a head coach. Of course, 15 at Kansas, now 17th year here at North Carolina, year 32. 20-plus wins in 15 straight seasons. They have 14 right now. 9 straight trips to the NCAA tournament. Streak that is certainly going to end if they lose tonight and finish the year at 14-19. Failed only once to reach the quarterfinals in the ACC tournament in 2010. Baycott shot never got near the rim. Black is at a career high 14 points tonight, and Brooks is fouled. And we talk about how surprising this season is. I mean, here's a team that was a #1 seed in the NCAA tournament last year, picked second in the preseason poll behind Duke. Started out 5-0, got as high as 5 in the country. Injury certainly a big part of it, but it just seemed like all year long There was too much talent for the record to be as bad as it was, and to keep losing as they did.
I agree. You see guys hurt there. I thought for a minute when they won 2 games in a row, beat Miami at home double digits, and then went to North Carolina State and won that. And then Anthony was coming back. You thought maybe, you know, they got 5 top 100 kids coming in. I was talking to Paul Biancardi today, 4 McDonald's All-American. You know, Cale Love, a point guard that, quite frankly, they got to have. They got to have a point guard. Roy Williams needs a point guard that will just push it and fly and get it down the court.
Because the expectation is Cole Anthony is not going to come back.
I would think.
Syracuse looks like it's content now to milk the clock. Jim Boeheim throughout his career has done that with a lead. Well, 8.5 is a lot of time left to pull the shoot completely, it would seem. Sidibe ran it down. They get the full shot clock. Reset to 20 now. Buddy Boeheim. That 3 popped out. Sidibe back up and in.
He is just torching them inside. You've got your 2 bigs if you're Carolina. Both great high school players and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes it doesn't equate.
Anthony, that felt like a settle and a force out of desperation. 23-point lead, matching the largest of the night for Syracuse. Been a frustrating year for the Orange. Like Carolina, they've had a number of close calls that haven't gone their way. Can they make a magical run here? You think they're good enough to keep going?
They are tonight.
This one's not in the win column yet.
Not yet, but I mean, they look pretty good to me, and this has been Sidibe all day. I think he has been terrific, and Sean, you know, in talking about it, he's just getting position. Nobody wants to come get in front of him. He's been terrific for a while.
The Phillips 66 Big 12 championship underway. A couple of good games there tonight. Oklahoma State a 1-point winner over Iowa State, and they'll play #1 Kansas tomorrow. Baylor will get the winner of TCU and Kansas State. They're in the second half on the U. A couple of free throws by Buddy Boeheim.
Iowa State's season went down with Therese Halliburton. It was struggling with him, but once he went down, it's pretty much over. And Oklahoma State's weird team. They look so good in Brooklyn early in the year.
Yeah, they just kind of overpowered Syracuse early in the year.
Overpowered Wisconsin, I think it was.
Brooks has 18, so he's 2 away from his 8th straight game with 20 points. They came to double Hughes near midcourt. Black got a hand on Boeheim's pass back to Hughes. Still 15 to shoot. Joe Girard led Glens Falls High School to state championships in basketball and football. He was a quarterback. Boy, he did a great job to get an easy shot, and then he missed it. And then a foul on the follow-up action. Quincy Guerrier, his 3rd. Jeremiah Francis returns, and Brandon Robinson goes out.
It's unbelievable.
Could be the last game as a Tar Heel for Brandon Robinson. Talk about improved players. With a career average of just over 2 points per game prior to this year. Good hands by Girard.
Boy, Girard played outside and read it perfectly and got the right hand in there. It was spectacular play by Girard, really.
He started playing varsity basketball in the 8th grade, Joe Girard. Scored 4,763 points. Not only #1 all-time in New York State history, but the record was 2946. So he broke it by almost 2,000. That was Lance Stevenson, of course, went on to play Cincinnati in the NBA.
Playing in China right now. Pacers talking about bringing him back.
In China now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right now.
I don't know about this moment.
Yeah, I would think not, but who knows? And those are the numbers. Played in the Carrier Dome first as a football player, leading Glens Falls High School to a Class B state title. Actually, 2 of them. And 1 in basketball.
I don't have the records in front of me, but, you know, a 4-year player, averaged 17 as a freshman. He's going to have a lot of records at Syracuse.
He had a season in high school. He averaged 50 points a game.
How about that? New York has weird rules. You play in 7th grade, 8th grade on the varsity if you're good enough.
And his uncle, Robert, was the coach. So, you know, he's likely to get his number called. Stay in there.
I would imagine he probably earned it.
I bet he did. Sidibe called for his 4th foul. So the 2 big guys with 4 each, which is more of the same. And Bacot scores. By the way, Sidibe with the 4 fouls now has 131. The record for personal fouls in a season at Syracuse is 134. So if they lost tonight, he wouldn't have had a chance to break it. But now, if it stays like this, he'll have a chance to break it. It was Otis Hill, 134 fouls in 95-96.
I remember Otis Hill, big, strong kid out of New York.
And the record for disqualifications, foul-outs in a season is 12 at Syracuse by Raphael Addison. You remember him? Terrific
Absolutely.
Player in the early 80s, still number 10 in scoring at Syracuse. Hughes, an air ball and a shot clock violation.
That had to be when Jim Boeheim was still playing man-to-man once in a while.
Yes, that's back when I was in school. That's how long ago that was. Leo Roughton in that era. Sean Cairns, Eric Sandifer, Tony Bruin.
Not that you remember.
Raphael Addison. Matt Park, the voice of the Orange we mentioned, told me earlier he's doing great work working with kids in the Jersey City area.
Look at Gerard again playing the passing lane.
Jeremiah Francis short with a 3, and Brooks frustrated as he couldn't rescue him. Matt Park, by the way, gave us a great nugget today. Syracuse this year in games, and here's Matt Park right over here, the fellow over there, and that's Jim Saddle. That's Matt Parkway, I mean, play-by-play voice of the Orange. And Jim Saddle, terrific coach, now the color commentator. Jim coached St. Bonaventure, Duquesne. And Matt told me today, every time Syracuse has played a team twice in the season, they've won the second game.
What do you make of that? Coaching?
I would say that's part of it, right?
If you say that's
Adjust.
coaching, then you would have to say that the guys they're beating the second time aren't coaching nearly as well. Now, Jim Boeheim, one of the all-time great coaches. To say you got out-coached by Jim Boeheim is no. I mean, a lot of guys got out-coached by Jim Boeheim.
Early in the year, they lost to Virginia. Actually, the opening game of the year, they opened with an ACC game. They looked like they would never score a basket in that game. Boeheim at the free throw line. They lost to Notre Dame. They lost to Virginia Tech. They beat all 3 of them in the second meeting, and then they swept Georgia Tech, Pitt, and Boston College. They lost to North Carolina a couple of weeks ago. So if this goes into the win column, as it certainly seems it will now, that'll be 7-0 in the second game of the season against an opponent this year.
You know, I did the Virginia game at Virginia. Sean, it was one of the oddest games. 18 points they scored in the second half. 20 points they scored in the overtime.
Jim Boeheim said that's something that will never happen again against Virginia. I mean, it's hard to score 20 points and a half against Virginia. Buddy Boeheim was a big part of that.
That's what was happening.
Overtime at Charlotte, so really their best win of the year with 20 points in the 5-minute overtime session.
It was amazing. And Buddy Boeheim threw one in from the MetLife logo here. He was making everything.
And before we get away from Matt Park and Jim Saddle, congratulations to them. The Syracuse Basketball Hardwood Club gave Matt and Jim the Vic Hansen Medal of Excellence. Vic Hansen was a great player at Syracuse. Also played and coached football at Syracuse. He's in the basketball and college football halls of fame. Guerrier denied by Brooks. Hughes couldn't save it. Timeout. But they give out a Medal of Excellence for outstanding contributions to college basketball. And this year, Matt Park and Jim Saddle won that. Well deserved. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by New York Life, helping people act on their love for more than 100. Almost finished with day 2 here at the New York Life ACC tournament. Syracuse about to end North Carolina's season in advance to take on Louisville tomorrow. They met once in the regular season. It was an easy win for the Cardinals at the KFC Yum exclamation point center. Some appealing matchups tomorrow. And it'll be all the top seeds that advance. Georgia Tech, by the way, was number 5 in the regular season. For those who didn't hear it, they elected not to play in the postseason. They're still waiting for ruling from the NCAA about a postseason ban. They've appealed it, and they were told if the ruling didn't come this year and they decided to play in the postseason, that ban would be enforced next year. They weren't going to go to the NCAA tournament this year, but they had an excellent season.
Well, they were
Finished
11-9, yeah, 11-9.
So everybody in the standings moved up 1 seed. Carolina would have been 15 to 14. Only 14 of the 15 teams came here to Greensboro. Keeling called for travel.
One thing, Syracuse wins tomorrow. Are you going to start
Get them back on the bubble? They're always on the bubble. It's an annual event. Joey Brackets find a way to get them on the bubble. What about NC State? They beat Pitt today. If they beat Duke tomorrow in ball game over, they're in.
You got to think they are.
If they don't, then he has them in right now. Joey Brackets as an 11 seed.
You know, Stanford was losing. They're a bubble team. Indiana was a bubble team. They beat a very bad Nebraska team. I don't think that mattered for them. They've got to beat Penn State tomorrow. Cuse beats Louisville.
This is the largest deficit now that North Carolina has faced at any time this season. Boeheim lays it in. So Syracuse, after 9 straight losses to North Carolina, is going to end that streak in style with the best performance of the year by the Orange.
Well, they certainly, look at this, boys. They certainly have played to their seed, North Carolina. I said they're the best 14 seed. That was a misspoken.
It looked like they were rolling.
They did.
It really did.
They did. And they just completely got out hustled, got outclassed, got out fought.
So this is going to be 14-19 in just the 4th sub-500 season in the overall record since they went into the ACC in 1953-54. In 54-55, they were under 500. In 61-62, which was Dean Smith's first year, 2001-2002, and this year. And the reality is set in.
Well, you know, one of the things you can make the argument, the only team that's been in the Final Four every decade since the 1940, North Carolina, you make the argument it's the best program in ever. You know, Kentucky would certainly argue with. A lot of people my age might think UCLA because of the championships. A lot of younger people might think Duke because of all success. But when you go from 1940 to now, you know, this is probably the best program ever. And
Roy Williams has emptied the bench. Walker Miller, who scored, his brother Wes played at Carolina and coaches a team that plays in this building, UNC Greensboro. He's a highly regarded up-and-coming young coach. Syracuse has emptied its bench as well. And the 3 out of the corner wouldn't go for Howard Washington. That's KJ Smith, the son of Kenny Smith, one of the great players in Carolina history. Of course, now doing a great job on TNT with Ernie and Charles and Shaq. Sports Center right now on ESPN. The NBA has put its season on hold for the time being. The NCAA tournament also reacting to the pandemic, announcing earlier today there will be no fans at NCAA tournament games. The very latest on the impact around the world of sports. Caleb Ellis is on the floor. That's Robbie Ohan, a JV player for Carolina the last 3 years. Shea Rush is on the court. He comes out to contest a long shot by Brendan Paul. Sean Belby in the game for Syracuse, number 24. We want to make sure all these guys get their love on national TV.
Got to shoot. I mean, run the offense is great. Season's over. You got to get one up here if you're in blue.
Rush was on the sideline. Stares of disbelief on the Carolina bench. It's really been a season all year long. It's been hard to believe. A lot of close losses. They had 6 games which they lost by 3 points or less, equaling the most in school history. You have to go back to 1940-41. Find the last season they lost 6 games by 3 points or fewer. Syracuse led 7-0 to start the game. They ended the first half on a 15-0 run. They never trailed
Sidibe just getting rebounds.
It's just to give this group a little size, I guess.
Yeah, just getting stuff done.
So the Syracuse fans on their feet. And longtime friends, Hall of Famers, Jim Boeheim and Roy Williams. Of course, the biggest game they ever played head-to-head, the national championship game in 2003, when Roy was at Kansas and Syracuse won.
Who won that game?
In the national championship game with Jerry McNamara, you talked about earlier. Big
Keith
part
Warwick
of it,
with
Anthony.
a monster block.
A monster block to save
from
the day.
nowhere, like from the middle of the lane. You watch highlight of that, it's incredible.
Team effort tonight for Syracuse. Hughes 27, Boeheim 17, Dolezaj 13. And here's Katie with Coach Boeheim.
Thanks, Sean. Jim, pure dominance from your team, start to finish. What did you think of the confidence they displayed tonight?
You know, it was, they just really beat us badly in Syracuse. They did everything right. We actually didn't play that bad, so we played really well tonight. They missed their threes that they made in Syracuse, but we just did a better job on the boards. They killed us on the boards. We did a better job there. Overall, better job on defense. And Elijah Hughes, he took over the game early. But then, everybody pitched in. Everybody took a part of it. And that's what we're going to have to do in this tournament. I mean, these teams, North Carolina's a good team. They're no, whatever their seed is. But, Louisville tomorrow, we got to have everybody. And tonight we had everybody. And it was almost good the fans were here. I think they got everybody ready to go. But I guess it'll be quieter tomorrow. But really proud of our guys. When you get beat that bad at home, but, we've lost, I think, 5 games at home to people that we beat every one of them on the road. So I don't know what it's been this year. We've been a really good road team all year, and I'm proud of these guys. It was tough coming down here and playing this team, and that was a great win.
You mentioned tomorrow you beat UNC essentially in front of what was a home crowd. Tomorrow you'll play Louisville without fans. What was your reaction to that decision?
I don't. People smarter than me are making these decisions. I just think it's good if we can play the games. I think that's good, and we'll see what happens down the road.
Thanks for the time.
Thank you.
We should point out that players' families are allowed in tomorrow. They're each going to get a limited number of tickets, so there will be a few spectators, but very few in attendance tomorrow as we head to the quarterfinals with the top 8 seeds in it. Florida State and Clemson get you started at 12:30. Duke and NC State, they split in the regular season. Louisville and Syracuse, and Virginia and Notre Dame. Ramos Sidibe, by the way, 12 points, 13 rebounds tonight for Syracuse, as Coach Boeheim said. A total team effort by the Orange from start to finish. They win 81-53. For Katie George, Dan Dockich, our terrific crew led by Eric Mosley and Scott Johnson. Good night from Greensboro.